Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
It is 11 o'clock. Welcome to The Lock Shop. Dusty with you. Huss will be joining shortly. And we got a big NHL slate to get to tonight. We'll dive into, the Edmonton Oilers last night. Cost us the partner parlay. Ottawa won. Toronto won. And the Edmonton Oilers losing to the Buffalo Sabres cost us a 5-1 partner parlay. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. And, hey, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us at 780-218-9999. HR Daddy interrupted me. There we go. Leave me alone. I'm doing the lock shop here. My goodness. Gager's in the house. He'll be ready to go on two guys and a goalie. We got a pretty good slate in the NHL tonight, so we'll definitely get into that. I believe Coolbet has some more Ovechkin markets up as he continues to chase the all-time goal-scoring record, so we'll definitely do that. Dive into that a little bit with Huss when he joins us. We've got some quarterback movement around the National Football League that we can get to as well. But Huss, the Edmonton Oilers, dead last in the Eastern Conference, these Buffalo Sabres, and they cost us the parlay. Can you, disgusting. It's disgusting. I can't believe that happened.
No, this game wasn't on TV. So I was just simply following along. And I said, okay, it's 2-2 early in the third period. No sweat. Oilers will find a way. We'll get this one in regulation. There's no chance the Buffalo Sabres come and kill our parlay.
I know.
And that's exactly what happened. So what was the takeaway from, I joked, good, enjoy your morning tomorrow last night. Because, I mean, the more I kind of look into it and see the highlights, UPL was unreal last night.
He was great. They hit 5 posts. Like, I said this morning, they didn't play bad, but you have to find a way to beat the Buffalo Sabres. You know what I mean? They've had worse games. I mean, the loss to the Ducks was way worse than this one. Their loss to Philly was way worse than this one. But this one, you need to find a way. Don't hit 5 posts. Put one just inside the post. So it was, people were pretty fired up today. They were mad that Knobloch didn't take a timeout in the final 2 minutes when they had one and the net was empty. I thought we talked people off the ledge relatively well this morning. They have 3 more games on this road trip. We'll see where it goes from here. But still, a disappointing start to the road trip for the Lock Shop. Killed us.
Now you guys do know I do have a sick habit.
I know you do.
Looking at teams that lose terrible games and go, ooh, I wonder what's going on in the post game. So I was out, but I did make a point of quickly popping over to the Oil Stream.
Hernan was pretty fired up last night.
Hernan is the best. I got to tell you, the addition of Reed, amazing. But bringing Hernan back in the fold, it is post game where we really get to enjoy the true genius of Latino heat. So, anyways, shout out to Hernan. But you mentioned the timeout, and I think this might have been a comment from somebody in the chat on last night's post game. And I guess they were talking about the timeout or lack thereof. They said, NFL coaches get fired for mismanaging timeouts. I
saw that one.
I'm like, okay, it's a little different in the NHL than in the NFL. But I hear you. I mean, listen, last year was such a crazy whirlwind for the Oilers, being the worst team, then winning 16 or 17 in a row, and then going all the way to the Cup final. This next full year under Knobloch, I think you're seeing some of the, at times maybe a little bit of inexperience with him. And maybe that was it last night. But listen, those games are going to happen over 82. I know as you approach the playoffs, they don't make you feel any better. This wasn't like it was a complete no-show.
They didn't get outshot 45-25 by the Sabres. In fact, in January when they beat the Sabres, they actually gave up 41 shots, and Stuart Skinner stood on his head and kind of stole one for him against Buffalo. So technically, I think they've actually played worse against Buffalo already this season. But you're right. These things happen. And Luukkonen was terrific. and they hit a bunch of posts. Like, it sucks. You want to find a way, but we've had people legitimately start to question if Knobloch will make it, like, through the season into the offseason as head coach. And I'm like, I mean, you can't just keep recycling coaches every 2 years here, Huss. Like, it just, we took the Stanley Cup Finals, got to buy you a little bit more than a 10-month leash.
What about, might we see the old Lou Lamoriello? You know, Knobloch gets canned with like 4 games left in the season, and then Stan Bowman's on the bench.
Stan Bowman slides onto the bench. Well, everybody's just sort of assuming it'll be Quenneville. If Knobloch doesn't survive, it'll be Quenneville coming in with Bowman. And then they'll bring in Jonathan Toews, who's going to try to work his way back. He'll be a bottom sixer here next year. There you go. They're going to run it back with the 2012 Chicago Blackhawks. I'm not sure that's going to work on the ice for you.
Hey, I'm in for Toews. I really do think that if he comes back, we talked about this extensively in Winnipeg, obviously, because he's from here. And certainly when you look at the Jets center ice position, I mean, if a healthy and motivated Toews came back, I'm speaking more about this season. There is a scenario where that would have been a huge add. Obviously, he's decided he's not going to come back this year. But if he does come back next year, pushing 38 years old, like, I just, knowing enough about Jonathan, he's not going to do this if he's just going to be a guy taking up a roster spot.
Yeah, he wants to play, right? Like, he wants to be a...
And man, he's a 3-time Stanley Cup champ. He's got an incredible legacy. I don't think he wants to be a guy that came back and everyone remembers how much he stunk playing for whatever that other team was at the end. Like, he's going to come, excuse me, if he comes back, he's going to be able to be a difference maker and a real positive player on a team. So I don't know. We'll see. I heard that he's actually, somehow he's got a relationship with Ryan Smith in Utah. Utah might be a really interesting place for a guy like that to go. With that sort of experience, I mean, he could probably add a lot to that room, to that organization. But again, that was, I mean, an offhand from somebody in and around here that's got a connection to him. But there will be no Jonathan Toews. I don't think Joel Quenneville is coming to save the day before the end of the season. We're post-trade deadline. These teams are what they are. And listen, I know I'm sitting here kind of defending the Oilers. They're still on the shit list because they blew the partner parlay last night.
Hey, but the streak continued.
The streak continues, and dude, you want to talk about a sweat. I had, like, first of all, the Leafs were up 3-0 in that game. And then I don't know if you saw that fight between Benoit and
I just saw a screen cap of the Superman punch, but I didn't see the fight.
So, folks, and I know everyone's going, oh my God, this guy did this wicked Superman punch. Well, he goes and does the Superman punch. Then Kesselring, bless the guy, I don't know a lot about him, haven't seen a lot of him. He basically kind of took it. I mean, obviously it didn't knock him out or anything. And then just went crazy with like 5 or 6 shots. Ended up kind of falling down himself. Like, he didn't knock out the other guy. But watching the broadcast, they credited that fight for getting Utah back in the game. And shortly afterwards, they scored again.
Oh, yeah. Kesselring pumped him pretty good after.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this was not like some big knockout. I mean, I know there's a great photo of him doing it, of him doing the Superman punch, and certainly that's what people will take away. But Utah showed a lot of fight last night. I mean, in their situation, they sort of needed the 2 points as opposed to the 1. But like Tourigny said, we didn't lose the game. We lost the skills competition. I mean, I always say that 3-on-3 overtime's the same thing. If you make it through 60 minutes and you're tied, you each get a point, and then, you know, you're playing for this bonus point, the loser point, if you will, like we like to call it.
And, quickly on this, have you ever seen anybody jump up like that to lower a punch to start an NHL fight?
Well, Bieksa knocked out Gudis.
That's right, Bieksa.
And then
I don't know if he got that high. Like, this guy's knees are up and he's coming down. Like,
Well, I just mean that Superman punch, like right out of Roman Reigns in the WWE. And then Foligno, I believe it was Nick Foligno, did it to Brendan Dillon last year in a fight, in a Jet game. Very unconventional surprise move when it comes to hockey fighting.
I just watched the Bieksa one, and it was more. Yeah, this guy just like jumped up, both feet were like this high off the ice. Bieksa's was kind of like 1 foot ahead, and the Superman punch coming in. This guy kind of jumped up and then punched down. Really weird, strange stuff. But yeah, anyway, it kind of got Utah going, is what you're saying, and then the Leafs ended up getting the job done.
They credited that with doing it just on that Bieksa. The crazy thing about that was on Radko Gudas.
Gudas is a tough boy.
Gudas is he's like an executioner.
Yeah, he's a slab of meat, I think he's been referred to as.
Complete psycho. Would love that guy on my team.
People have been calling for Gudas to the Oilers forever. Like, they've been like, that's the guy they need. And also, just so you know, Kesselring, former Edmonton Oilers prospect, was actually traded to get Nick Bjugstad a couple years ago. Stepped in the following year after being traded as a prospect for Bjugstad and became a pretty good defenseman for the Coyotes at the time. And people were just losing their mind here. They're like, how did they let Kesselring get away? So,
listen, you can't have it both ways. You can't want to get everybody and not give anybody up.
This is not the OKC Thunder.
Yeah. But yeah, God bless Mitchie Marner with the shootout winner. Very nice one last night. Actually ended up being a nice night because despite what the Oilers did nuking the parlay, got the play of the day with the Leafs. And then the super boost last night. To me, that super boost was maybe the most free money.
That was plus money, right? Wasn't it plus 100?
It was plus 10 when I bet it, let me tell you.
I think it was plus 100 when we did Lock Shop. I remember reading it off, but what was it when you got it?
It was plus 105.
Okay.
Plus 105 for a Draisaitl point and a Marner point. So that one came in, and then the Leafs, that Leaf number dropped actually. You know, when we were first talking about it, it was minus 118, I think, and the Utah was even money. And they actually went off at minus 150. And when I did the play of the day. So anyways, we move on to today. We got a huge slate of games today.
Big slate today.
In the National Hockey League. And by the way, have you dove into the players yet?
I have not. I usually do that Tuesday night and then between shows on Wednesday. So tonight will be my players night.
This is a big tournament. Just before we dive into the hockey, let's quickly head over and fire out these because again, and we're going to have to figure out who we're putting our 30% profit boost on tomorrow. Yeah, we'll do that
tomorrow for sure.
If you missed yesterday's program, amazing new promo over at Coolbet. 30% profit boost every week on golf. So for a tournament like this, I mean, we'll probably be making a few outrights. You got to figure out who's going to get that profit boost, but it really is significant. I mean, I'm just looking right now. It's up to $100. Like, okay, Justin Thomas is a guy I'm thinking about, and he may end up being the guy. I don't want to have picked him last week and then have him. I feel like he's about to pop.
Yeah, at some point you don't want to miss the pop.
So I think I might stay in, but just to use an example of this, JT's 20-1 for the players. You put $20 on that, it would be, the 20 would pay 400, so 420. You add in the 30% boost and you get the extra 100. I mean, the other way to use it would be, and again, this is great. Like if you can't really swallow the Scotty Scheffler, Scotty Scheffler's 4-1 right now. So, I mean, a $50 bet on Scheffler would pay $250, but you prop in that extra 30% and it adds another 60 to it. So, I mean, you're definitely nice, as I said, if you're taking kind of a chalkier guy, a Scotty or a Rory, I mean, this will really help you either keep your bet down or add more in. But the minute you get into the neighborhood of the 20s, I mean, basically you're adding another $100 onto your win if you get it done. So I have not decided yet who I will be making my 30% bet with tomorrow, but I will have it locked in by tomorrow and have it in. But again, Scotty Scheffler 4-1, Rory's plus 750. We got Morikawa 12, Ludwig 14, and then the rest of the group up top. I mean, 20s on Xander and JT, 22 on Cantlay, 25 on Decky, 28 on Fleetwood, your guy Russell Henley, Shane Lowry, Sam Burns is 33, and then the group at 40 begins with Vic Hovland, Wyndham Clark, Jason Day. Corey Connors coming off that great performance last
place
season at 50-1. But again, you got this much like the hockey when we got the 25% profit boost on the weekend. You've got one wager to make with the 30% profit boost. So you got to choose wisely. We will do that tomorrow. Patty will come in hot. And I really love the players. The players sort of feels now with the new schedule, Dusty.
This is where it starts, isn't it? Like this
yeah,
is when
you know, like we get the Honda or whatever it's called now, the Cognizant Classic and the Arnold Palmer. Like, you know, once you get to Florida, it feels like, okay, we're just about there. But the players is truly the fifth major. It arguably has the best field in golf. Although now I guess without some live guys, that is debatable. But great course. We know it well. This is going to be really fun on Thursday. So if you're a golf bettor, get in on it. Tomorrow, join us and then tee off on Thursday. And if you haven't, for some reason, been betting at Coolbet already, promo code LOCKSHOP, get in there, 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. And you can take advantage of that profit boost right away for the Players' Championship.
It is the Lock Shop. We are presented to you by Coolbet. If you've not yet signed up for an account, do so at Coolbet.com, and you will get a 200% bonus on your initial deposit up to, or a 100% bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Jen over in the chat says, "Nice haircut, Huss." You get the old haircut yesterday, Huss, looking tight.
Yeah, little, just a little Monday night. Popped by, did a little charge, went over, got a haircut, popped into Hooters. You know, it was just it's a nice, easy Monday night. That was actually where I saw the Oilers go down. I was checking it out.
Wait, we're at the haircut place or at the Hooters?
I was following the Oiler game at Hooters.
Oh, okay. You guys still have a Hooters in Winnipeg?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Ours ended here a long time ago.
Yeah, I heard the pandemic. I think the same guy owned both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he owned the Edmonton, the Winnipeg, and I think one in like Fargo or Grand Forks or something like that.
And Winnipeg's still going strong.
I mean, that might be a stretch.
It's not peak Hooters.
I think, like when it opened, it was right across from the stadium. And then the stadium moved from Polo Park out to the university.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of more, I don't know, an industrial / shopping area. But let's just say they've still got a great team there. They've still got their clientele. Fun place to pop in for a few wings and a cold one and watch a game. So they will do it. But funny enough that you mentioned the Edmonton one. I guess when they shut the Edmonton one down, they had all this stuff. So they actually brought some of the nice bar stools. I was probably sitting in an Edmonton bar stool last night, to be perfectly honest with you. Because I do know that they did, I guess it was during, I don't think the Edmonton one lasted through COVID. I think it was COVID that took it down, and I don't think it ever came back. So they went and got a whole bunch of the stuff out here to storage. So that is one of the features of that. As a guy that enjoys and can pretty much do a power poll ranking of the seats at the bar at most places in this city, Hooters would be right up near the power poll, and I'm pretty sure it was the ones from the West Edmonton Mall one.
Have you ever done that on Winnipeg Sports Talk? Because you should. A ranking of the chairs and stools at the bar tops around the city.
To be honest, it never crossed my mind until right now. So that could be a little content project.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
The next little while.
That's a good bit. I like that. All right, 780-218-9999. We're going to get to this hockey slate. Penner's Pancakes over in the chat says, Huss, did you catch the cage match on Raw from MSG with Punk and Rollins last night?
Okay, I did actually. And I didn't watch it live. As I said, I was out last night. I came back, and usually I'll sort of catch up on Raw throughout the week. And I was going down my feed, and I don't know, someone I think that I respect, like someone with a good history in the business, as they say in wrestling, said it was just a tweet. Was that the best cage match you've ever seen?
What?
And I'm like, wait a second, what? So I fired up Netflix and watched it. And
was it the best cage match?
I mean, I put it this way: I'm not as much of an encyclopedia, to be able to compare it, but it was incredible. I mean, both of those guys, Punk and Seth Rollins, are such incredible performers. They legitimately seem like they absolutely hate each other, and they were giving it to each other. And again, Punk had a bunch of wins over Seth. And then Roman got involved and dragged Rollins out of the cage, so he technically won. And then he beat up him, and then beat up Punk. And then Paul Heyman was in there with Punk afterwards.
That's who Bruce Boudreau wants to go with. He wants to get a piece of Heyman. He told us that last week when we were chatting with him. He's like, that's his dream scenario. He said he'd have what do they call it? The stick. What's the stick called? The bunto, what's the stick?
Kendo stick?
Yeah. He said he wants to have one of those under his chairs and then pull it out and attack Paul Heyman. That's his bit. That's what Bruce Boudreau wants to do.
We need to get some sort of a feud going with obviously Kevin Owens, who would be Bruce Boudreau.
That's the link in.
KO.
Yeah.
And maybe it is CM Punk. And then we see Boudreau and Paul Heyman go at it. We talk in wrestling about a lot of dream matches. That's truly a dream match. Anything to do with Bruce Boudreau, in fact. I would love to hear Bruce cut a promo. Can you do that next time he comes on your program?
If I give him a heads up, he would do that. We were talking because we have him on every second Thursday. Last time he's on, people were like, Dustin, you got to get like a wrestling style entrance song for Bruce. Before you bring him in. I was like, he would love that. Like, he loves it. We brought it up because we thought he was at Elimination Chamber. He's like, no, I wasn't there, but I was watching it on Netflix, and if I was there, this is what he loves it. Like, I think he might love it more than hockey. Like, that's how much he loves it. So he would love an intro song. Like,
listen, I think you're right. Like, I saw him talking with the lovely Jackie Redmond, who of course moonlights in between NHL Network. I think she does TNT too, if I'm not mistaken. And then Mondays, she's the queen of Raw. She was talking to Bruce, and it was very clear.
Oh, he knew.
Like, I think Bruce is way more excited about wrestling than he is about hockey. In fact, I think it was. Put it this way: if somehow he was pouring it on, then he really should be in wrestling because he had me convinced. But his guy KO, Bruce is just one of the best characters.
Oh yeah,
in all of hockey and all of sports. So yeah, if we can.
Did I tell you about the time I asked him if he collected anything? Because his segment with us is sponsored by Pro-Am Sports, a sports memorabilia store here in town. And I just was like, Bruce, do you collect stuff? Like, he goes, do I collect stuff? I collect everything. I was like, come on. He's got rooms in his house. He's got like his Washington Capitals room and his Anaheim Ducks room. And he's got, oh man, some people watching right now, like he has some very unique, like one of a kind items that you're like, no way, you have that? And it's like, yeah. So he's like a hardcore sports collector guy too, which makes me love him even more. Like it's just phenomenal stuff.
What about wrestling memorabilia? Like, does he have a bunch of little figures? Does he have like a few championship belts?
I would bet my house that there's a championship belt somewhere in Bruce's house. Like, I would be confident enough to put my home for my family on the line and then walk into Bruce's house blind and be like, there it is. I'd be very disappointed in him if he didn't actually. So he must.
Hey, again, we love betting here, but please bet responsibly. I'd hate to see a scenario where Marshall and the Muzz go, Daddy, why are we homeless? Well, I was so sure that Bruce Boudreau had wrestling belts that I bet our home on it. So only bet what you can afford to lose. I think you're right, though. I think that would be a winning bet. Knowing what you just said about all of his hockey collections.
Yeah.
And now that he's had some contact with the WWE and, of course, Kevin Owens, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
If it wasn't such a weird thing to text him, I might text him and ask him. Just be like, hey, Bruce, I got to know. Is there a wrestling belt somewhere in your house right now? And see what he says.
Hey, quickly, a couple things from the chat. Big Maple. Yeah, Hooters did file for bankruptcy. Now, I don't know how that's going to affect everything, but it's still business as usual. Now, Matt Hyman said it's no Costa Rica. Hey, Huss,
yeah.
I will say that I love my local one, and I do pop by there occasionally to support. I mean, especially with what they're going through right now, I certainly don't want that on my conscience that I wasn't there for them in their time of need. But the one in San Jose, Costa Rica, that's one of the greatest food and drink establishments I've ever seen in my life, period, hands down. So highly recommend it if you're ever down in the area. Pop in. And yes, Matty Hyman, Huss, how about Logan Stanley, a healthy scratch? WST will be crazy. Yeah, I have a feeling the chat, there's going to need to be a new something else for people to be mad about online at all times now that Luke Shen is here and Big Stan will be in a suit tonight.
Is that the thing in Winnipeg? Stanley gets out, like they want him scratched. They want him out of the lineup. Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's been the lightning rod all year long. And listen, he's the thing is that this has gone on for a long time and people have thought he's been playing ahead of other guys that, aren't as good as him.
This has been years, has it not, Huss? Like this is a couple years of this conversation, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was playing in the playoffs against the Oilers. What was that in 2021?
Yeah.
So he's been around and he's basically been a mainstay in the lineup, but they had no one else like him, like big guys with some semblance of toughness. But they needed to improve that, and they went and did with Luke Shen. Now, I think there was a lot of thought that there would be a Shen-Stanley pairing, which would be one of the biggest, but also probably one of the slowest pairs around. I don't doubt that there's an angle, and we'll get into this on WST later on, for him to potentially be in the lineup as a third pairing. But I think if that happens, that would have Shen playing with Morrissey. And then Dylan DeMello can come down to the third pairing. He makes everyone that he plays with better, very solid guy. And maybe babysit, for lack of a better term, on that third pairing and keep going if they want to do it. But yeah, Hayden Fleury's getting into the lineup tonight, so we'll be breaking that down.
Well, yeah, this is a nice way to transition into our NHL place here. And I know we don't throw these guys on the parlay usually. I mean, lesson learned last night with the Oilers. But what do you make of this Winnipeg Rangers game tonight?
Big game for Winnipeg. Big game. I mean, listen, they're coming off a loss in Carolina. And all you need to do is just look at the standings right now in this division. And the Dallas Stars, who are 8-2 in their last 10. Before it was the Jets were 10-0 and the Stars were 8-1-1 and they lost 3 points. Well, the fact of the matter is the Jets didn't leave them in the dust by winning 10 or 11 in a row. Dallas was still there. And now, you have a couple hiccups. You're 6-3-1 in your last 10. And all of a sudden, objects in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear. So the Jets have 6 points on Dallas. Dallas is a game in hand. The crazy thing is, Dusty, Friday night, Dallas is here in Winnipeg. I mean, everyone's talking about this game. Cannot wait for it. Dallas does not play all week until that game
they
on
don't play
Friday.
until Friday, yeah.
So it's going to be 2 games in hand. The big question is whether the Jets will have an 8-point cushion or whether it will be 6 with 2 games in hand, and then what happens in that game. So listen, 17 games left on the season. They know what they have to do. There is one goal, and that is win this division, preferably get the number 1 seed. Although, as I said, I think if you win the Central, you're going to win the number 1 seed because, I mean, Vegas right now is 10 back of Winnipeg. The Oilers are 14 back of Winnipeg. So I'm sure they'd love for the Stars to be in the other division right now, but they're not. So there's still a lot of work left to be done. And, you know, this game tonight against the Rangers is a chance. I mean, they skated circles around the Rangers earlier this year. I think that was the game that got them to 15-1, like with the best start or the best through the best first 16 games. And man, the Rangers have had a lot of turnover. I mean, Adam Fox is out. Trouba's gone. JT Miller's now there. And you're seeing some, you know, Brendan Hoffman's, Johnny Brodzinski's, like that bottom 6 just isn't quite where it was beforehand. And without Adam Fox, the blue line is a little depleted. So this is the game the Jets should win. I think they'll be ready to go. I think they'll get a real boost with Luke Schenn on the blue line. Obviously, Brandon Tanev's back. So the plan tonight, and listen, the odds will tell you as well that, I mean, the Jets are a minus 189 favorite, although that does make me nervous because was the Oilers 189 favorites yesterday?
They were right around there. You're right. It was like minus 181 or 189 or something. So
that number makes my spidey senses tingle. So we won't be putting the Jets on any lock shop parlay, but I will put together a WST parlay. And I got to tell you, I'm glad I did a pre-tape earlier because I am going to really need to lock down for this play of the day, Dusty. We are now 10 straight. And Big Cat's 16-0 went down last night. So as far as I'm concerned, the greatest streak in sports betting right now is right here on the lock shop as we look to go 11 in a row.
What game did he miss on last night? What ended the streak? You know,
I don't even know who these teams are.
College basketball.
College basketball. Some college. It was a College of Charleston, and it was an over. So I couldn't even tell you who won. I was just sort of following along with the tweets. Hey, by the way, and I know we'll get into some March Madness on Monday once the bracket is done. Have you seen this guy for Wofford that shoots free throws granny style?
Yes, I haven't seen it, but I love it. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a 30% free throw shooter.
He's 30% and he's doing it?
He's 30%. And he's just basically going. Now, his name is, I want to say, I think it's Kirby.
Oh, yes. Yes. What is this guy's name? I'm watching. Kyler Filowich. Yeah,
Kyler Filowich. Guess what? He's from the Peg.
Are you serious?
That's Winnipeg guy. And apparently he's like the best player on his team, so they can't keep him out of the lineup. But he has been, shall we say, a very ineffective free throw shooter to the point where now he is going granny style with underhand tosses. I think he's still around 30%. But their team, he airballed one on the weekend, which I saw. The team that they were playing against is losing their mind. They're going crazy on the bench. They probably needed to be reminded they were down by 18 at the time and ended up losing by 20 plus. But yes, this Kyler Filowich is the guy to watch. We will be pulling for Wofford here in the Peg. And I'm not sure if I run around schoolyards around Winnipeg right now to see if young kids are practicing granny shots for free throws. But
the Kyler Filowich impact in Winnipeg.
Hey, the Kyler Filowich and our old buddy Simon Hildebrand, who was playing on the Sea Bears for the last couple of years and was at the U of M. He ended up going down south. His team just won their conference. So we're going to have 2 Winnipeggers in March Madness this year, which is actually going to be pretty fun. I'm sure I'll make terrible picks on my bracket, just little homer picks with 13 or 14 seeds going up against top teams. But
they've got a guy from Winnipeg. How can you not hop on that? Yeah.
Well, we've seen tons of Hildebrand because he was like the young player of the year, the first year in the CEBL. The Sea Bears were in it, and I'm sure is going to be back to it. So, but yeah, geez, man, big slate of games tonight.
Yeah.
Do you want to run down our goalies?
I've got the goalies sitting right in front of me here, buddy. Let me lay them out for you. I think we got 11 games tonight. Bobrovsky confirmed for Florida. Brad Marchand's first practice with the Panthers was today in Boston, which is just, perfect. Panthers, Bruins. Bobrovsky.
Is he playing tonight?
I don't know. He practiced it. I don't think he's playing tonight, but he skated this morning. Somebody will let us know. 780-218-9999. Bobrovsky will start for the Panthers. Swayman listed as likely for the Bruins. Tristan Jarry is confirmed for the Penguins. Samsonov listed as likely for the Golden Knights tonight. It'll be Markstrom for the Devils. Merzlikins for the Blue Jackets. Fedotov will start for the Flyers. Forsberg is unconfirmed at this point for Ottawa. They played the back-to-backs last night, and it was all Mark, so probably going to be Forsberg, and they won last night 2-1. Kochikov will go for the Hurricanes. Vasilevsky confirmed to start for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hellebuck versus Shesterkin, just a juicy battle between the pipes there in that Rangers-Jets game. Philip Gustafson will go for the Wild. Mackenzie Blackwood unconfirmed for Colorado. He played last night, though, didn't he? I thought he played last night. I could be. I know Colorado played last night. Did Blackwood play last night?
No, it was Wedgie.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I get them confused. So Blackwood likely to go tonight. Washington at the Ducks. Logan Thompson and Dolstall unconfirmed. Samuel Montembeault is confirmed to start for the Habs. They're out in Vancouver. Lankinen listed as a probable starter there for the Canucks. Islanders and Kings tonight. Sorokin and Kemper unconfirmed at this point. And also in the other later game, Preds and Sharks tonight. Georgiev and UC Saros both unconfirmed right now. So, yeah, no shortage as usual on a Tuesday. Lots of games to pick from here, Huss. Much easier than just the 4 games that we were facing last night. So let's find a little parlay here. Who do you like?
Hey, quickly, just before we get to team totals, like my whole focus right now is keeping this streak going alive.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this and it's not like I'm going to be putting down like a minus 165 favorite. Like last night we had a very close odds. We took minus 115 with the Leafs. The only game that would be a possibility of getting in that might be like Ottawa minus 116. But again, Ottawa played last night. How about Linus Ullmark, by the way? You want to talk about stealing a game?
Yeah, he was terrific.
Holy crap, he was amazing. Detroit's got to be pissed that they weren't able to get that done. Part of me thinks that Ottawa might come out with a much better performance tonight after their goaltender won that one for them. But I think it's going to probably have to be a player prop. Capitals at Ducks. Ovi's got to score in this game, right?
Plus 113 right now. And there's some other Ovi props that we can get to as well. But yeah, I went and looked today. I was like, man, I got to get a piece of Ovi tonight. And the player shots, which was one of the ones that hit when I was keeping the streak alive, it's minus 154 at over 3.5. So that's not, but the plus 113 to score tonight. I put it up to keep the streak alive and have a great part of like the chase be included in it. Pretty sick move if we can pull it off.
And a late game. It's a late game too. So I'll be able to watch most of it after the Rangers and Jets. Well, unless I find something that I like better than an OV goal at plus 113, that could very well be it. It'll be nice. I can plug all the other offerings there as well. But anyways, to the games we go. Wow, how about that game, Tampa versus Carolina? I gotta tell you, I don't even mind
Tampa at plus 115.
I don't mind Tampa at plus 115 in that.
I know. That could be a streak play too. That could be a streak play.
The Canes are still really good. I just do wonder though, with Stankoven coming in and losing Rantanen and before that Nakash, like they're really good against most teams. But again, Tampa to me, I had Johnny Lazarus on today from Morning Cup of Hockey. He covers the Rangers there in NYC, and we were talking about the Rangers, and we were kind of getting into into some of these games for tonight. And I asked him, just so you see way more of the East than we do. Who do you think is the best bet to come out of the East? And he said, well, I mean, it's easy to say Panthers. And obviously the Panthers are the favorite right now. They're down at plus 550. He said, but to be honest with you, I really like the Tampa Bay Lightning. And like I said yesterday, Dusty, post-deadline, like right now, value on the board, plus 1250 for the Lightning, I think is the best value play right now for Stanley Cup futures. Like, I really think that they should be in the 8-1 range. But, much like Dallas and Colorado and Winnipeg, because they're all in the same division and only one team that's going to come out, when you've got a favorite team like Florida, that's going to boost that other number. Leafs as well, for that matter. So, anyways, Tampa, I wouldn't be opposed to throwing that in on a partner parlay, because I do really like where they're at right now. That should be a hell of a game.
You mentioned Carolina. So Carolina's won 4 in a row, but in their last 6 versus Tampa has won 5 of them. 4-0, 3-0. Tampa lost 4-0. 8-2 last season. And then so far this season, 4-1 and 3-2 for Tampa. So Tampa has had the number of the Carolina Hurricanes for a little while. The plus 115 is a pretty nice number on the Lightning. So, yeah, I would totally be fine with that. What else you like?
I also like the Avalanche in Minnesota. The Avalanche are just an absolute problem right now. Minnesota's beat up. I mean, they're just hanging on for dear life. I mean, minus 160. I took for a parlay, that'd be great. I did, like on our morning show play of the day, I took the Avs in regulation. It's minus 101. I didn't want to go minus 160 when we're only doing the one type of game. But I did. So, yeah, I'm with you on Colorado. I took it to minus 101 in regulation on the morning show today. But I do like that one. I mean, 2 teams going in different directions, and one's just ramping up here. A chance for Colorado to kind of stick it to me again here. Right? And I know it's back-to-back, but last night against Chicago, you see the total shots in that game? 21-20 for the Avs last night. Like, it was a nothing burger through 40. They scored 3 in the third to put the Blackhawks away. So I guess I'm not sure how tough of a game it was last night for the Colorado Avalanche. So, yeah, listen, I still expect Colorado to win. I kind of was overlooking the fact that they played last night, but again, I'm sort of with you. I don't think that was their toughest out, shall we say. If we want to get a bigger number to sort of, round it out, I think Vegas and Pittsburgh minus 192. Like, Vegas is coming off that 6-5 loss to the Kings. I would be surprised if they weren't significantly better tonight. Tell you who I don't like tonight is the New Jersey Devils at minus 165 against Columbus. I think that's a very dangerous game for New Jersey. Jersey without Jack Hughes they're having a tough time right now, and Columbus is playing every single game as if it is a playoff game. I'd love to take Ottawa, but I'm a little nervous that what they have left in the tank after that game, not that they seem to really empty it. I don't think they were particularly good last night against Detroit, but a huge game for the Sens tonight at minus 116. I see I'm picking a lot of road teams tonight.
The one home team at a parlay. I think the Kings at home tonight. I don't hate that for a parlay. It's minus 189. They've won 2 in a row after losing 5 in a row. They beat St. Louis 2-1, and then they're coming off that wild game against the Golden Knights in which they won 6-5. And the Islanders, this will be their 3rd game of a road trip. They beat San Jose 4-2, but lost to the Ducks 4-1. And you saw the Islanders, 10 days ago? Not even 8 days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Kings are awesome at home, awesome at home. So they're 23-4 at home. So I don't hate the Kings on a parlay. I mean, I'd be okay with that. Minus 189 would bring the number to 434. And you said you don't like the Devils. Golden Knights. Will you like the Golden Knights on the road, minus 192 Huss against the Pens? or would you like the Kings slightly better number at home against the Islanders?
Well, the thing about Pittsburgh is they pretty much sort of just packed it in. I mean, I know you got Crosby and Malkin, but I mean they are somewhat done. What about Vancouver? Home to Montreal.
Minus 152.
Habs have lost the first 2 games on this road trip. Vancouver. Listen, Vancouver right now, are they even in a? They're probably still on the outside looking in tonight.
They've only won 4 of their last 10. I mean, it's a huge game for them. It's a huge game for both teams, to be honest with you. Like,
absolutely massive. Yeah, Vancouver 1 point behind Calgary. I kind of do like Vancouver in this game tonight. I'm sort of off Montreal in general.
It's a better number than the other two. It's a better number than the Kings. It's a better number than the Golden Knights. It would bring it to plus 479 if we go Canucks.
Yeah, I mean, if we go Canucks Lightning and then pick one of LA or Vegas.
You don't want Colorado at minus 160?
Well, I kind of do want Colorado. I do think they're going to win. I mean, shouldn't be nervous. And you know what? They're going with Blackwood tonight too. That's right. They played their backup in that first game. Well, if we do it with Vancouver, Tampa, Vancouver, Colorado gets us to plus 479.
Yeah, so it'd be 5-1 with the boost.
Yeah, maybe even closer to plus 550.
Yeah.
Well, what do you like better? I mean, we get a bit better of a number with the Canucks. We're probably a little safer, I would guess, with the Kings.
Yeah, but I think I like a little bit of a better number with the Canucks.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Let's do that. Plus 479. We'll send it over. Jake will be watching. Somebody will be watching. P. Greg and Jake will be watching. That'll be up in the combo cards at the top of the page. What about these Ovechkin? Then the boys text us about Ovi. Some updated Ovechkin.
Some new Ovi props. So again, Lightning, Avalanche, Canucks. It's plus 479. Wait for the boost. We'll get it up in the combo
these are
card.
some good ones. These are some good ones.
Yeah, we've got there's more Ovi specials. Let's see here. Ooh, I do remember when we were originally talking about this and I came in on Columbus at 5-1. We're now at 4-1 for Columbus. So I'm sitting there on a nice, I always like it, when I bet something, and even whether I don't necessarily even need to win the bet, but when you see you've got on it at a certain point and then you've got a much better number than it is available for, again, they've got those 2 games against Columbus early April. It really feels like that would be the time. We'll go to the assists in a minute, but just what team will Ovi score his goal against? It's still plus 175 that he won't do it this year. I think that when you go through, there's still a lot of goals to be scored in a relatively short period of time. But if you do think he'll get it, the Blue Jackets at 4-1, Islanders at plus 550, Hurricanes plus 650, and then Blackhawks, Penguins 10-1, Bruins 12, Buffalo 20, Minnesota 40, and the Jets 60. I'm telling you right now, if Ovechkin didn't break his leg earlier this season, he would have broken it in Winnipeg. Those things just seem to happen here. But they're here later on this month. I mean, he'd have to score a hat trick in one game, maybe another one.
I think they have 18 games left. He needs 9 goals. So he needs a goal every 2 games to break the record.
That's it. And you know what? Here, I guess we can't really talk about these odds without getting the schedule up. Here's Washington's schedule for the rest of the way. He's 9 back right now.
He's 9. He's 8 back, 9 to break the record.
9 to break the record. Yeah. All right. So in Anaheim tonight. LA,
maybe he does it against the Ducks tonight. Who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, if he could pop a couple tonight and then they're in San Jose on Saturday,
Oh, you could take a good chunk out of this. Yeah.
Well, listen, he does score in bunches. Then you get the Detroit, Philly, Florida at home. Then they come to Winnipeg on that game on the 25th. That's part of the reason why it's 60-1. He'd need 8 goals, presumably in his next 6 games. Could happen. At Minnesota, home to Buffalo. That's the end of March. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 9 games left in March. And then it's Boston, Carolina, Chicago, New York, Carolina, and then the weekend that I'm referring to. Back-to-back games against Columbus, April 12, April 13. An early game on ABC and ESPN on the 12th, and then a 5 p.m. game in Columbus that next day. That's sort of what I've circled it for. New York Islanders, and then the final game of the regular season in Pittsburgh. What's the Pittsburgh number there? Pittsburgh is 10-1. We always talk about scripts. I mean,
him doing it last game of the year against Sid, man. Come on. If it gets to that game, I don't know how he doesn't do it in that game. Like, that's just how the greatest of all time do it. Right? This is how Sid would do it. This is how Wayne would do that. That's the script. That's the storyline script. So not maybe bad with it, but they've got some other options up here now too. The method of the goal being scored, even strength or power play. Power play is at plus 185. So if you think it's going to be a power play goal, plus 185. Even strength goal, minus 238. Will it be an empty netter? Yes, is plus 375. He's been using that empty net quite a bit this year. I don't think he wants to set the record into an empty net, though. But is he going to pass it up? I mean, anyway, plus 375. No is minus 526. And then Will Ovechkin scores 895th goal this season. The yes is minus 222. The no, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, is plus 175. And then they have who will assist on the goal as well. But what do you think about the power play at plus 185? I mean, as far as script stuff goes, a rocket on the power play from his spot would be the storybook way to do it, would it not?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, he is all they do is pass to him and let him rip.
Exactly.
Now, he can score in other ways. I like the power play goal a lot more than I do the empty netter, because I'm with you. And I actually heard an interview with Spencer Carberry, and he was asked about that. He said, would you put Ovi out to score the winner on an empty net? He said, well, I wouldn't think that he would want to break it that way. So I'm going to probably stay away from that one. But yeah, power play goal plus 185 knows a thing or two about that. Dylan Strome, by the way, if you're talking about who will get an assist on his 895th goal, Dylan Strome minus 130, Carlson plus 350, Big Tom Wilson 4-1, Alexei Protas 5-1. Most fans have no idea who that guy is. He's had a huge season this year.
Big year. He's had a really nice year.
How is Washington doing what they're doing? Well, they've got a lot of good players on their team. What about unassisted? 7-1. Just does it all himself. Probably not.
It'll be an assisted goal, I think. What's coming up at WST, Huss? What do you got today, buddy?
Well, we're going to get ready for this Rangers game tonight. As I said, Johnny Lazarus is going to jump on with us. Jeff Hamilton will kind of break down the Jets post-deadline. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this Winnipeg dude that is doing granny free throws and helping his team get to the tourney. I think our buddy Joey Slattery is going to jump on today.
Oh,
Slat
nice.
Man.
Tell him I say hi.
Slats all over the local hoop scene. Target Score Weekly, by the way. There's a little plug for Joey. If you're liking hoops, particularly CEBL stuff, Target Score Weekly on Insta.
It's a great handle. I like that.
Hey, we're big Target Score guys here as CEBL guys.
Oh yeah, we know it. Yeah, Edmonton
the All-Star game for the NBA, I did see a couple people saying, I never really gave it much legitimacy, but the more I see it, the more I like the Elam ending.
Have we ran our idea by in-season tournament games? Go Elam ending, target score. I think that would kind of be neat. Like, for
what about every game?
I don't know if I do every game, but I think that's a nice way to work it in for the in-season tournament games. That's a good chunk of games, and you can kind of get a sense for it. If people love it, then you can take it the rest of the way.
I don't know. Having been to enough CEBL games, it is a way better ending.
It's exciting. It is exciting. Every time I go to a Stingers game, there's a good buzz over the final stretch for sure.
I've been completely sold on it. I think it'll take, and there's the history of the game and stuff. So I mean, in the NBA, it probably doesn't happen. I'll tell you what, you're always looking ways to improve your product. I don't think there's any doubt that if you watch the CEBL, I mean, that it is a huge part of it, and every single game has an incredible finish. So.
Yeah. Every single game has a game-winning shot every time. That's just how it works. It's got a bit of buzzkill when it's a free throw, but still, every single game has a game-winning shot. All right, Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in about 3 minutes over on the WST channel. We've got two guys and a goalie coming up next. Lots to discuss coming out of that Oilers game last night. That'll lead into EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager, and then the Reed Wilkins Show today at 3 o'clock with Reed Wilkins and the glue guy, Jay Milne. That is going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Big golf episode, more hockey obviously tomorrow, and some more NFL movement we'll get to that we didn't slide in today. We'll get to that coming up tomorrow on the show. Thank you very much for joining us today. Best of luck tonight. Huss, keep the streak going, buddy, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Go.